Hello everyone, welcome back to Movie Recapped Girl. Today we're diving into a captivating sci-fi mystery where students stumble upon a place where time is shattered in time trap. When the movie kicks off, some kids sneak into a cave they're not supposed to, trying to do a little research. After about 10 minutes, they spot something super scary. One of the girls decides it's time to hop out and call for some help. Shockingly, when she gets to the top, she realizes Earth looks totally different. There are huge rocks everywhere, sandstorms are causing a mess all over, and there's even a spaceship nearby. So it looks like while they were chilling inside the cave, over 1,000 years just flew by outside. Then the movie jumps back to show us how everything kicked off. Professor Hopper, an archaeology teacher, and his dog Boss are looking around some lonely caves nearby. They stumble upon a van that looks like it's straight out of the 70s. So Hopper is actually looking for some hippies who disappeared years ago, and that minivan was theirs. They're likely out there munching on sandwiches and chasing after ghosts. While they're still looking, Boss suddenly starts yapping like he's picked up on something and is super keen to get back home. Even though he's told not to, Hopper sneaks into one of the caves and finds a weird-looking cowboy. It's pretty clear that this guy's from another time period, just by looking at his old-fashioned clothes and gun. Surprised, Hopper hops back in his car and heads home. He meets up with his two students, Taylor and Jackie, who are super pumped to begin their new adventure. But they're bummed out when Hopper says the plan's changed and he's going solo now. Not long after, he grabs everything he needs and heads back to the cave. So he stumbles upon this weird hideout that kind of acts like a barrier between the outside world and the cave. Hopper, though not really buying it, steps into the lair, and right away, the guy who was frozen starts moving. Next up, 2 days have passed and the students haven't heard from their professor, so they plan to go find him. But since they don't have a car, Taylor has no choice but to ask for a ride from Kara, who's totally into him. Kara instantly says yes to bringing her dad's Jeep, but only if she and her little sis Vives can tag along. As if things weren't that enough, the archaeology students have to bring another kid, Furby, along for the ride. Furby, you say? So it looks like he and Vives are just filming for a school project. After some time, the gang gets to the place and finds the same deserted van they saw earlier. When they look into it, they find out that the hippies the professor was searching for are actually his own mom and dad. A few decades ago, they went into this cave system to find the Fountain of Youth, but they never came back. Then they find an old rope that guides them to a new section of the cave. Jackie trails the rope down a narrow tunnel and realizes it's been chopped off. She also realizes the cave is super deep, and that could be where the professor got lost. Taylor's pretty sure the rope is too ancient to be Professor Hopper's, but he figures he might as well check out the cave anyway. The girls choose to tag along with him, and they leave Furby on guard duty since he's too scared of the dark. Hey Furby, toughen up a bit. As Kara's making her way down the huge cave, she stumbles upon this weird barrier again, and tells Taylor there's a noticeable temperature change on each side of it. Even so, they keep going down until they finally get to the bottom of the cave. So, after that, the movie jumps back to 2 days earlier when Professor Hopper was just stepping into the barrier. While he's cautiously moving through the cave, out of nowhere he hears a scream from deeper inside, quickly followed by a super scary howl. Freaked out, Hopper bolts back to the entrance and sees the sunlight blinking weirdly. By the time he finally makes it outside, it's already dark. Even though he was only in the cave for a couple of minutes, when he rushes back to his truck, he finds it all covered in wild plants. So what was once a barren desert is now a thick forest, which means Hopper's been in that weird cave for a long time, like decades. Not long after, he stumbles upon Kara's run-down Jeep and Taylor's backpack, so he makes up his mind to go back into the cave to find them. So, back to now, the gang's checking out the cave when they hear that same scary sound Hopper heard before. Freaked out by the idea of something creepy in the shadows, they choose to ditch their plan and bolt for home. Jackie is the first to go, and out of nowhere, the rope gets cut, and she ends up falling from a pretty high spot. So she ends up with a broken leg, and Taylor, who was trying to help her, winds up with a broken arm. So Taylor goes to check the other rope, but, shockingly, it's been cut too. They figure out that Furby's been playing tricks on them. Taylor, super pissed off, tries to reach him over the radio, but the kid just doesn't respond. At this point, everyone's freaking out. While they're trying to come up with a plan to escape the cave, they hear a loud bang in the distance. Looks like something dropped from up top. Freaked out, Taylor tries the radio once more, and this time a faint voice comes back, saying, "Help me." Taylor wants to know who the guy is, and shockingly for everyone, it's actually Furby. When I was little, Furby freaked me out as well. With no other choices, the crew decides to keep going down the tunnel until they find a spot where they can see the sky. Weirdly enough, just like Hopper saw before, the sun keeps blinking on and off, like it's going from day to night in a split second. But even with all that, Smarty Pants Taylor thinks Furby is just messing with them using his torch again. "All right, Taylor, whatever you say, pal." But man, they were totally freaked out when they kept looking around and found Furby just lying there, dead. His neck snapped, and there are some pretty bad bruises on his face. The gang's totally freaked out by what they see, and they start getting scared that someone's hunting them down. When Taylor discovers Furby's chalked-up rope, they're totally convinced. Luckily, the gang stumbles upon the kid's still working GoPro and decides to see what actually happened to him. In the video, Furby's been waiting for days for the gang to come back, but no luck. He tries it all, hollering on the radio, shouting down every gap in the cave, even chucking rocks to give a clue, but he never hears anything back. When he's got nothing to do, he strolls around the nearby place and stumbles upon a 70s hippie van that has a notebook in it. The diary says there's a crazy cave with a magic fountain that can cure people, even bring them back from the dead. So, Hopper's parents went into the cave because his mom had a rare type of cancer, and that's why. A few days roll on, and Furby has run out of all his food and water. Thinking his buddies are gone, he decides to split. But first, he needs to get the Jeep keys from Taylor. So, he makes up his mind to go down into the cave and get them himself. But when he steps over the weird line, he sees the sky changing super fast. Before he can even figure out what's going on, the rope just breaks on its own, and he falls to his death. So this is the loud noise the gang heard before. As soon as they're in the cave, the radio kicks in. Hurt, Furby tries to call for help, but, bad luck, it only attracts some cannibals. They show up and end up killing him with no mercy. The video really throws the crew for a loop, leaving them stunned, baffled, and upset. They're totally confused about how Furby was outside for days, but for them in the cave, it was only half an hour. Now, the gang is super eager to get the heck out of there. Since Kara's the only one who isn't hurt, she has to climb her way out of the huge cave without any gear. Before she takes off, Taylor gives her a beacon to ping the cops as soon as she picks up a signal. After a tough time, Kara finally escapes the cave, but what she sees totally blows her mind. That place, which used to be a lush green forest, is now just a dead, empty land with sandstorms kicking up in the background. Kara keeps coughing out of fear because the oxygen supply is really low. She scrambles up a rock trying to catch a signal on the transmitter. Just like we thought, Kara can't get any signal, but she spots this weird thing that looks like a spaceship far off, showing that a bunch of years have passed. When she returns to the cave, Taylor and the gang are bummed that she didn't even make an effort. So, here's the thing. Although Kara was outside for half an hour, for the gang inside the cave, it was just a few seconds. Pissed off that no one's giving her credit, Kara whips out her camera to prove she really did step outside. In the clip, you can totally see the weird empty planet and those huge sandstorms. So, Taylor figures out that time in the cave is moving super slow for some reason, and every time they see the sun blink, it's actually a whole day going by. At last, these rookies finally got the hang of it. He says that's why the ropes were getting snipped. Years of rubbing made them leak. Oh, I didn't realize that. After hearing everything, Vives decides to take another look at Furby's video. And guess what? She finds something that really blows her mind. In one scene, you can see the sky's color shift. The dark sky represents winter, and the light one is for summer. So basically, every moment you spend in the cave isn't a day in the real world, it's actually a whole year. The crew freaks out with the shocking news, and they're more hell-bent on getting out. As soon as Kara gets her strength back, she tries to leave the cave again. But just then, a ladder that looks like it's from the future appears from nowhere. Then a huge alien-looking dude starts coming down, making everyone step back. So, when the alien gets to the cave, out of nowhere, the savage cannibal jumps him. These two start scrapping, but the big alien dude quickly gets the upper hand and ties up the man-eater using a fancy gadget. Then he begins chasing them, which freaks them out and makes them run away. Eventually, Taylor and his friends stumble upon a creepy spot where some cannibals are chowing down on their latest catch. Looks like it's the same cowboy we saw at the beginning of the film. Bummer, the man-eaters spot the humans and start chasing them, giving the others a chance to get away. Taylor decides to take one for the team and battles the monsters by himself. Unfortunately, he just can't hold his own, and the cannibals ruthlessly take him out. As soon as they take off to chase the others, Kara sneaks in and is heartbroken to find Taylor dead. As she's crying her eyes out, this massive alien walks up to them and hauls Taylor over to a puddle that looks just like the legendary Fountain of Youth. Guess what? He actually comes back to life. The myth that everyone used to laugh at turns out to be true. But just as the gang starts to celebrate, those carnivores are back, and they start going for the huge guy. This time there's more of them, and they even get his helmet off, leaving the big guy struggling to breathe. Good thing Kara and Taylor step in before he's done for. They use his gear to trap those cannibals. After the argument, the couple does their best to get the giant back on his feet, but no luck. Looks like the air we breathe on Earth is toxic for him, and it's making his insides shut down. Meanwhile, Vive and Jackie show up and see the mess everywhere. Before kicking the bucket, the giant shows a news story about how the group vanished thousands of years ago. He also shows them a bunch of other videos that prove life on Earth isn't possible anymore, so people have moved to a different planet. So there's this unique spaceship, the Ark, that carries humans around. Guess what? It's the same one Kara spotted earlier. After spilling all the beans, the giant kicks the bucket. In the following part, Taylor's hunting for more hints in the cave when he stumbles upon Professor Hopper hurt and on the ground, but what he finds next totally blows his mind. He's got a bunch of other time layers in front of him, and they're moving even slower. In the first level, Hopper's folks are stuck like statues, and in the deeper parts, a bunch of cavemen are scrapping over the Fountain of Youth. Hopper breaks it down and says the whole cave system is set up to keep people and other creatures away from the Fountain of Youth. Taylor tries to take him back to a safe spot, but Hopper's determined to stay put. Soon after, Taylor heads back to his crew and drops the lifeless Furby into the Fountain of Youth. Jackie also gets her hurt leg fixed up there, but just as they're about to head out, the barbarians circle them again. The gang's got no other choice, so they decide to borrow the fancy ladder from the alien. Kara's up first, but once she gets to the top, she realizes the entrance is all flooded. Out of nowhere, a monster snatches her, and the rest of the group is totally freaked out. So now, Taylor and the crew are in a pretty risky spot. If they head up, they'll be killed by the beasts, but if they turn back, they'll get eaten by the savages. Just a bit later, Kara, now completely transformed, comes back to the cave and drags everyone out with a fancy, high-tech rope. After a bit, she also brings along Furby, Professor Hopper, and his folks. Turns out, those things that dragged Kara before are just humans who've changed over time. Even though Kara was only gone for a few seconds in the cave, she actually lived a bunch of years outside. In the last scene, the crew gets taken to the Ark, which is on its way to find a new planet to call home. Some advanced critters who talk in a totally different language are running the Ark. The movie wraps up with the spaceship zooming off into space, saying goodbye to the blue planet for good.
Thanks for watching.
If you want to see more incredible stories like this one, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I'll be back with another video soon.